Viewers, you're most welcome to yet another episode of Soaring with Eagles. We are live on all our Manifest platforms. My name is Pastor Joy Ninsiima, and today I have a guest that you'll all be very excited to hear from. He's a visionary lawyer who is also a confident, creative, and highly qualified sales and marketing professional with over 20 years of distinguished performance in telecom and media industries. Counsel Dennis Paulo Kavuma. You are most welcome to this show.
Thank you.
Counsel. In Fanero, you are also our father. Yes. But we're most welcome to have you. So Counsel, can you start by telling us a bit about how you grew up? What kind of family did you grow up in?
Excellent.
Yes.
Great question. First, Pastor Joy, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show. Your show is highly esteemed, highly regarded.
Thank you.
Soaring with Eagles. In fact, when I first heard of the concept, Soaring with Eagles, you associate that with great vision, determination, resilience, working hard and all encompassing. That is a vision that I put with Soaring with Eagles. So all the positive aspirations, go with that. So I'm really honored and privileged to be here.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
With regards to my early childhood, I grew up in Lunguja with my grandfather. My grandfather is called Paulo Kavuma. He used to be the Prime Minister of Katikiro of Uganda in the 50s. Reason that my parents used to travel up country a lot, so we needed somewhere to stay in central, somewhere where it's stable. So my siblings and I grew up with my grandfather and my aunties and uncles. So it was a huge, extended family, huge family. So that's how I grew up.
All right.
I went to school in Namidyango Primary School, whereas my sisters and all my other siblings went to Budo, Gayas, and Namagunga. But I guess my grandfather wanted to experiment with me.
Yes.
So I did not go to Budo. I went to Namidyango Primary School, and I finished my PLE Primary 7 there. After that, I did a stint in Old Kampala for nearly a year. Then I went to Nairobi. When I went to Nairobi, I joined St. Mary's School, which is in Nairobi. And I did my O levels and A levels there, after which I went to England. But at this point, I'd like to say that in a way, Nairobi, going to Kenya from Uganda, was a different step in my life. And I think God had prepared that. There's a saying, the Bible says that God prepares wherever you're going, or your destination, well before you know it. So in a way, you can say when I went to Nairobi, it was a systematic shift in my life. Why do I say that? It prepared me for the life, for my future life and for the life abroad, especially in England. So by the time I got to England, my life and my schooling and education in Kenya somehow prepared me
for the time
when I was in the UK. Yes. So there was the cultural shock, but in a way there was a cushion. My education in Kenya gave it a cushion. So that's why I thank God that happened. When I got to the UK in London, I first went to a university in Oxford called Buckland University College, and I did law, advanced law, after which I left Oxford. Then I went to London to a place called Holborn Law Tutors, which is affiliated to London University. And I did law there. But during that time, we used to get foreign exchange for the tuition and board from the Central Bank of Uganda. There was something called window 1 and window 2.
Yes.
That means that you had to apply to the central government for foreign exchange for whatever you wanted to do, be it medical reasons, be it education, like in my case, and the government would either say yes or no. And in this particular instance, apparently the government had run out of foreign exchange.
So what did you do?
So my parents told me, well, we've run out of fees. You can no longer get tuition fees or anything from Uganda. So you have two choices.
Either to work
or to pack your bags and come back to Uganda.
Yeah.
So I remember that time I said, my God, what do I do? So I remember praying to God, saying that, God, give me the wisdom to make the right decision, because this is my future. And again, as we'll talk later on, anyone's future is based on making the correct choices in life. Whatever decision you take now, or whatever choice you make now, affects you 5, 10, 15 years later.
That's true.
So that is what I was asking God to give me the wisdom to make the right decision. And the decision God gave me was to actually stay in the UK. But before I think like maybe 6 months before all this happened, I'd applied for a scholarship at the same university, London University, but not for law, but for social sciences and politics. Social sciences and public administration. And at the time when I was told, I got the news from Uganda that there's no more foreign exchange, make the decision, either come back to Uganda or stay in the UK. At the same time, I think within a week of that happening, I got a message from London University. They had given me a full scholarship. They had accepted me for the social sciences and public administration. And I was saying, wow, it was a miracle from God. So I left the law, which I'd done 1 year, then I went to a different course. So at London University, the college is called Goldsmiths College. So I was at London University for 3 years. I did the course. I did well. I passed. But then again, God working in mysterious ways, when I finished, or maybe I can tell you, can I tell you a little bit before I finished the kind of work I was doing?
Okay.
Now, during every holiday, we used to get holiday work, and this was temporary work. So some of the work I was doing, I worked for British Telecom, and British Gas, and again, doing things like telesales, debt collection over the phone, data inputting, things like that. But to a young person, all that, it was exposing me to the work ethic, the professional world, and how it was. And again, later on, it all came back to help me grow professionally. What else did I do? I remember before I got like work with British Telecom or British Gas, you obviously do, jobs like security guard at night. Yes. So life in the UK, life abroad
you're studying and you're also doing these jobs.
Thank you.
So was the studying in the evening?
No. The studying was during the day, and the work was from 5:30 to 9 p.m. And I was working as a temp. A temp means temporary, so it's not permanent. Yes. And I did it like school in the morning, classes in the morning, lectures in the morning. Then at 5:30, I'd go to the job. The good thing is, like in the case of British Telecom, it was quite near the university. So
security guard, did you have to
security guard? Basically, what you do, they give you a uniform. People finish work. They leave work at 5:36. You must be there before 7. You put on your uniform and you stand outside. And at times you find yourself like sleeping on the job. But I had good supervisors. But again, I'd like to tell people here that when you're starting out, when you have just gone abroad, life is not as rosy as people think. And maybe the other problem, from a humorous point of view, the problem is with us. Like when you go abroad, you take pictures leaning on people's cars. leaning on people's cars, dressed nicely,
right.
or like where I was working as a guard. You go to like the managing director's office, you sit at this desk. This is a night, and remember, you're the only one there,
right.
and they take a picture of you, and you send it to your friends in Uganda. They say, "Wow, this guy is doing so well."
Right.
But that again, that's the life of living abroad. So I finished university, and again, God blesses me with a job, but again, not in the field that I did. I got a job with a company called, now this is permanent. When I finished university, I stopped doing temp work, and then I started permanent work. The company used to, I think it was called Trice International, and they used to they used to trade in commodities for SmithKline Beecham, Coca-Cola, I'm trying to remember the other company, Reynolds and Company, basically, but in bulk. And they used to import them from the States and then import them into the UK, and then they'll distribute them. My job was to sell. So I did that for about a year. Then after that, I think came back to Uganda. After that, before that, my grandfather passed.
Oh, sorry.
My grandfather passed.
Because you're very close to
him. Yes. So I had to come back to Uganda. And then that is when actually the thought of coming back to stay came about. So again, I had to make a decision, and again, I went back to the author and the finish of my destiny,
Yes.
God. And I said, what do I do? So I decided that, you know what, I have to go back and pack up and then come back to Uganda. This is my home. If God has determined that this is where I'm going to make it, be a success, enjoy his grace and favor, then so be it.
Yes.
So I went back to the UK, and then I packed up and I came back. Yes. Now this is, I call this the Ugandan chapter.
Right.
And this is again how God was working in my life in the Ugandan chapter. So when I first came back, I got a job through a friend. And I remember the name of the gentleman I told you who introduced me to Dr. Katiti. Is called Ben
Bivagamba or something.
Yeah, Ben Bivagamba. He used to have a coffee shop at Grand Imperial.
Yes.
So he introduced me to Dr. Katiti. Dr. Katiti at the time had set up a company called CableSat Television. CableSat Television, I'd like to tell the viewers, was the second television network after UTV. UTV stands for Uganda Television, which is currently now UBC, Uganda Broadcasting Company. And at that time, those days, there was only one TV station, UTV. It used to open at 6 p.m. and close at 11.
Can you imagine that?
And I think, had color come that time, or it was still black and white? I'm not sure.
I think color had come.
Color had come. But there was only one TV station. So CableSat Television came in with Dr. Katiti as the second TV station. Now, compared to UTV, CableSat Television was more liberal. You had new ideas. It had young people working for it. I'm not saying UTV was not good. I mean, it had our heroes and mentors like Francis Bale and Lucy Banya and all the other people working at UTV. I can call them trailblazers and people we looked up to. But then CableSat Television was full of young people, fresh ideas, and ready to do this, ready to do that. So what CableSat introduced, amongst other things, was the getting sponsors for television programs, getting sponsors for TV, and people paying for airtime. So all that started. And then Dr. Katiti somehow managed to make a connection with Ted Turner. Ted Turner was the founder
of CNN.
and CEO of CNN. Yes. And they entered into an agreement, or there was a program for reporters from different TV stations, not only in Africa, but in Europe and Asia, to go to CNN International in Atlanta in the US to train for nearly 9 months or so, but to train in television management, television sales, buying of TV programs, doing interviews, generally the whole TV management area. So, and on top of that, they would request the indigenous TV stations to send reports from the various countries. To give you an example, in Uganda, they requested us to send things of newsworthy stories. Excuse me. So the first news story that I featured on CNN, and it appeared on CNN International.
Can you imagine?
Yes,
wow.
yes. Was the Kabaka's wedding. It went worldwide. You know, but so I was seeing people are saying, "Oh, we were in China and we saw you. We couldn't believe that it was you, Dennis." So that was really, again, God's work.
Yes.
So we did Kabaka's wedding. We did the cultural aspect of Uganda. We did the water hyacinth. We did the liberalization of the Ugandan economy, and we did tourism. Basically, the promotion of Uganda, the Uganda export, so to speak. We did growing of coffee. We did a number of them. So it was really interesting. And I was the author. I was the reporter, or like CNN calls it, I was the anchor, the CTV CNN World Report anchor from Uganda. And I think, Joy, if I remember correctly, I was the very first Ugandan, or even East African, to appear on CNN International during those days. But we can even do a fact check. But I have the certificate from CNN, so I was really proud, to do that, to represent my country, Uganda. But then again, but if you look back, I feel that it was God working through all this. I could not have achieved all this by myself.
By yourself.
No. There was a superpower, a super being.
Right.
And I think God was in action. Yes. So, but I remember also at when we were at CableSat that you were there. Now, I'm not sure if you came after.
I think I probably came. No, I think I came after you. I don't. Yes, but I was there. Yeah.
Okay, but then again, this is excuse me, to thank. I thank God for what happened, but I thank for also the people God worked through to make this happen for me and for everybody who worked at CableSat television, because I think it was revolutionary television, the journalism, TV journalism. It was revolutionary. It had never happened before. And one of the humorous things that happened during that time, I must tell the viewers, is that compared to Uganda television, UTV, people used to read, the news anchors used to read the news from a piece of paper. So they'll say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today to listen to the UTV. The news headlines for today are A, B, C. They'll be looking down. So when we came to broadcast the news, we did away with reading the news like this.
Did we have a teleprompter?
We improvised.
How? What did you do? We had a chat or what?
So we'd have the camera right there as he is, and then we'd write the news on big cardboard.
Yes.
So the cameraman would hold, I'll be looking in the camera, but the cameraman would be holding the news, the big placards written in big font. So I'd actually be reading from the card the cameraman will be holding, but at the same time, I'll be looking in the camera. So people were saying, how is he doing that? Is this some kind of maverick? How can he do that? And some of the people were saying, how can this guy cram all that news in his head and deliver it for a good 15 minutes without looking down like we normally used to? So again, that was something new that was introduced in TV journalism. And then also at the same time, we introduced breaks, because UTV never used to have breaks. We used to have like things like, just like CNN, that we'll be right back after this break. And then we'll play commercials. And then after that, we'll come back with the news. The other thing that was introduced at the time was Since UTV opened from 6 p.m. until 11, we were the very first television network in Uganda to start broadcasting news and programs 24 hours, nearly 24 hours. You know, but because we were new and we were financially, you know, a little bit constrained, but we had to improvise. And this is what I really enjoyed about CableSat television, was that Dr. Katiti, the managing director, gave us enough space to improvise and to put in things that we believe would make the television station work.
And you went for training.
Yes, and I went for training to CNN for 9 months, which was really a very, very major step in my life.
So after that, you go to...
After that, I came back, and then when I came back, I worked for CableSat, CTV, and CNN International doing the world reports. I worked with them for about a year, and then another television station came, WBS, Wava Broadcasting Station, and they wanted to buy CableSat television. So when that came, I figured that I might not hold the same position, and I might not be able to work as wide with wide powers as I had with CableSat television. So WBS came with a view to buy CableSat television. So I decided that it was time to move. I started looking around. And as luck, I wouldn't say as luck has it, again, God came into action in my life. While I was there, I met a gentleman, a friend of mine, Mr. Bire, Charles, who told me, who introduced me to a Mzungu guy called Colin McDougall. Colin McDougall had been sent in advance to find out how they can set up the very first mobile telephone company in Uganda, well, in East Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa, apart from South Africa. Yes, it is true they had mobile companies, but the difference with this new company coming in called CloverGem Celtel was bringing in digital mobile telephony. There's a difference between analog and digital.
You're right.
And in a nutshell, really, digital means that you have a handset, a mobile handset, but it has provision for you to put in a SIM card. Now, the beauty about digital mobile telephony, still now and at the time, was that you could travel to anywhere where there is a GSM, Global System Mobile Communications, like in Europe, in South Africa. You go with your handset, you remove your Uganda SIM card, and you put in the SIM card of that country you're going. So anyhow, so Colin McDougall, I called Colin McDougall. He says, yeah, Dennis, let's meet up. We had a chat, and you know, I told him about my history, where I studied and where I was working. And at the time, there was no office. So he was staying at the Sheraton. So we had most of our meetings at Sheraton. Then he said, okay, Dennis, I'd like you to help me to look for the office and everywhere we're going to set up this company. And I remember that time that I met Waswa Birigwa. Now, Waswa Birigwa was the managing director of Celtel CloverGem. And I think he was a founder as well. And that's when I met Waswa, and we started looking for the premises, and we found office space at Greenland Towers.
Oh, you started at Greenland.
And that is how I started with Celtel CloverGem. And again, God was in action. I mean, this was a whole different generation. It was new technology, unheard of, not only in Uganda, but in the whole of East Africa. It was unheard of. And I still like to call it revolutionary.
Right.
And I started off in sales, and it grew. Now, one thing that is very memorable and specific about Celtel CloverGem, and by the way, I need to tell the viewers that Celtel CloverGem rebranded, and it became Warid, and it became Zain, then Airtel.
Right.
So it's now Airtel.
Right.
One thing that is very specific about it was that it was catering to the A class, so to speak.
At that time.
At that time.
Yeah, those are the ones.
So we're looking at ambassadors, ministers, high corporate companies, and they used to charge in US dollars.
Right.
You remember?
Expensive.
Very expensive. And the phones, the handset was about 1,500 US dollars.
Right.
And you used to pay your bills in US dollars, and they used to have, you must have had a post box where to send the bills, your monthly bills in US dollars. But it was a very exciting period in my life.
Wasn't it?
It was exciting. I can't say I became famous at that time.
Oh, you did.
So I can't really say what really propelled me to the apex of society in Uganda.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was CNN that did it.
Oh, I think
when I played on CNN.
More of Celtel.
And then Celtel, because it was a different field. Right. Remember, I was moving from television journalism to telecommunications. So I worked with Celtel Provision, and it was a very pivotal moment in my life.
Right.
Very exciting. Yeah. Again, young people ready to move. Yeah. We were given branded cars. We were given.
I have to say this. Thank you so much for helping me to get into Celtel.
Yes, and later on,
it was you.
Pastor Joy, I left at Cabosat Television, but then later on
we met again
at Celtel.
Yes, we drove posh cars.
We
had
mobile phones, unlimited airtime.
Right.
And for the first time, really, although I had worked in England before, I had a sales budget, whereby I could entertain people from ministers, ambassadors, or people working in the foreign corps, and big and corporate companies like Total, Shell. I could entertain them, i.e. take them out for lunch, discuss business, to get really more business, to engage them, to get more lines for their, apart from the managers and other different chiefs of different departments, but also like for their sales teams. So I used to have that, and for the first time, it was my first time for me to have a budget of at the time was maybe 30 million shillings, which was a lot.
Can you imagine?
At the time.
Yes.
But again, I thank God for having taken me through that, properly being frugal and being accountable and not being tempted to use my budget in ways that were not actually directed to what I was supposed to do. Yes. And so really I thank God, because at that young age, there's so many distractions, but I had a company car.
Yes.
Free fuel. Oof. A mobile phone.
Yes.
Limitless airtime. And of course we had to dress up like very corporate, perhaps maybe like now. So it was really exciting, but I thank God.
We have to go in a break right now, but after we come back, you're going to talk more about your career.
Thank you.
So viewers, we'll be right back after this break.
Thank you.
Watch the Finero live services on Finero YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Finero Ministries International, and on Finero Facebook page, facebook.com/Finero. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join the experience of our official Finero TikTok channel. Share the experience with your friends. You can also listen to Finero podcasts every day. Finero, make manifest.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Soaring with Eagles on all our Manifest platforms. My name is Pastor Joy Ninsiima, and my guest today is Counsel Dennis Paulo Kavuma. Before we went into the break, he spoke to us about how he grew up with his grandfather and then ended up going abroad, stayed there for some time, then came back, worked with CTV, and then worked with Celtel.
Celtel.
Yes. So were you done with the Celtel
Yes, well, again, to go back a little bit to Celtel, as I was saying, that God, again, was in action. It wasn't me that was doing everything to get hired by the very first mobile company in East Africa. So really, God was working through different people to help me get there. And when I left Celtel, I was headhunted, like I said earlier, by MTN as a pioneer, the very first employees who worked for MTN.
That was again Mr. Mbire?
Yes. It was.
So Mr. Mbire takes you to
Yes.
Celtel.
I mean, somewhere,
you out and
like the man of God also says that somewhere, I think one of my grandfathers or great grandfathers made a covenant with the Lord. Because I see doors opening for me, different doors opening for me. Yes, I work hard. I really apply myself. I believe I'm very good at what I do. When I do something or a task, I believe in applying myself to be the very best that you can be. And in a way, I'm very competitive. So I do the best that I can do. I want to be number one. I want to be at the top. But then again, there's something that is always behind me, I believe, and this is God. You know, and like I said earlier, the man of God said, Apostle was saying that in order, when you find certain doors opening for you out of the blue, I believe one of my relatives, my grandfather, my great grandfather, must have made a covenant with God somewhere along the line. So I am humbled, I'm privileged that all this is happening to me. I mean, who am I? Yes, I could be a Kavuma or this or that, but at the end of the day, who am I? I'm still blessed. I've gone through so much. I'll tell you later on when I come back about the COVID part of it. But let's get back to the exciting part of working for MTN. Now, again, MTN brought us a new strategy in the telecommunications terrain in Uganda. And why is that? Remember, Cablesat television. Celtel was charging in US dollars. So what does MTN do? When MTN comes in, they charge in Uganda shillings and they slash all the prices from 1,500 for a handset to maybe about $200. And then the monthly fee they did away with. And they did away with paying bills at the end of every month. The key thing that MTN brought to the mobile telephony world in Uganda, they introduced a system called Prepaid, the Prepaid system, where you have the scratch cards. So you no longer had to go, wait for your bill to come in the post office or go to the headquarters or offices of the mobile company. No, they got dealers. Right. Where they'll deposit the airtime cards and people buy from there.
Yes, that was Simba.
Yes, Simba Telecom, Mr. Patrick Vitature, and who did so well at the time. Yes, excellent, really excellent. And then one of the other revolutionary introductions that MTN brought to the Ugandan market was introducing mobile telephones to the general public. Remember again, Celtel was catering for the A-class in society. So what MTN did, which was a very smart business move, they said, you know what, we want to make sure that everybody within the Ugandan society, the man in the market, the man who pushes the cart in the market should have a phone. Teachers should have a phone. Nurses, not only doctors, should have a phone. Everybody should have a phone. Guards should have a phone. And 30 years later, here we are. Right. MTN revolutionized the telecommunications terrain in Uganda. The whole entire market changed. And then they introduced landlines, fixed lines. Then they introduced fixed lines. They introduced data ISP. They introduced PAB systems for organizations. They introduced post boxes. This was huge in the history of Uganda. And in a way, in addition to Celtel putting Uganda on the map, MTN helped to propel Uganda as the leading telephony country in sub-Saharan Africa. Remember, mobile telephony was introduced in Uganda, before Kenya, before Tanzania, before Zimbabwe. The only other country in sub-Saharan Africa that had digital was South Africa, with MTN South Africa and Vodacom. Those were the only companies. And remember, this time even countries in Europe did not have digital. So Uganda was propelled to the center stage of the world in telecommunications. So, and we're very excited. I'm very excited to have been part of it, and I'm sure so are you.
Yes.
We were part of the revolutionary movement. We were part of the pioneers, and we're glad that God enabled that. Without God, nothing would have happened.
That's true.
So I stayed at MTN for 2 years, but during that time, briefly, again, we worked very hard. We worked smart. We were very excited. We were given all the incentives: cars, limitless fuel, budgets to entertain clients. And for incentives, I remember the very first big incentive we were given was that the leading salesperson or salesman or lady at the time, that they'll get an all expenses paid trip to South Africa, to Sun City. And we worked very hard. And I remember I emerged the winner.
It was me. That's in Celtel.
Yes, this is in Celtel. Yes, in Celtel.
Yes.
I actually Celtel. So I emerged the winner, and we went to Sun City in South Africa. But then, because all of us had worked very hard and we surpassed our targets, management decided that they should take everybody, the whole team.
Yes.
And that was really excellent.
Right.
So those are the things I remember. We went to Sun City for the first time. Then they used to have other incentives, monetary incentives. We had insurance for our families. Education was paid for our children.
Wow.
Excellent. I mean, this was really, really God at work. I can't emphasize enough, you know, how God has the role He has played in our lives, in my life especially.
So after
MTN, I like I said, I'm very competitive. I like to have a vision of where I'm going. If I'm working somewhere, where am I going? What is my future in this organization? So I inquired about that, about my future at MTN at the time, and the sales manager position sales and marketing manager position was open, and at the time there was a Mzungu guy from South Africa called Eric Van Veen. I'm sure all of you remember Eric Van Veen. Eric Van Veen was a marketing maestro. He was a maverick, a marketing maverick, and we learned a lot from him.
Yes.
So he was holding those positions together. And in a way, I think he was playing a general managerial role at the time. Because remember, we had just started and all the positions had not been filled. So I expected that naturally, because of my hard work and having pioneered, having done this, that, and that, and that, that I would assume the role of sales manager. Sales manager. Because Eric Van Veen was going to take marketing. Unfortunately or fortunately, I did not get the position. It was given to somebody else, Lucy.
Winnie Laoko.
Winnie Laoko. And I was happy for her, and we worked well. But then again, I said, no, if I can't get this position, I feel I'm stifled. I want to get higher. I can do something big and better. God has created a destiny, a path for me where I can do a lot better. I can be bigger than this. I want to be the best of myself. I can be a better version of myself. That is what God has kept in store for me. So I said, what do I do? I said, I'd been to America before when I was working for CNN or CTV, and my sister was in America. I said, why not go to America? You know, and I spread my wings. So I said, okay. So I thought about it. I talked to my sister. She said, yes, she used to live in Boston at the time, but she passed. Rest in peace, Vivian.
Sorry.
And then I went to America. Now, again, if anyone who's been to America, I must say this, It is a totally different world from Uganda and from the UK. If anyone thinks that you've been to the UK and you've seen it all, I have been to the UK. In London, I thought I'd seen it all, you know, from education, from standard of living, you know, from entertainment. I thought I'd seen it all. But America is a different animal. It's a different scene. And why is that? But mainly I should concentrate on the mindset that America gives to somebody who's just been there for the first time. When I first, I'd been there before when I was training for CNN, but I hadn't actually gone to start living or working there. But the first thing that hits you in America is the mindset that the Americans have. The Americans have a huge mindset. They believe big in doing big things. Everything is big in America. If you want to do something in America, it shouldn't be small. It should be huge. And this is where the concept of, later on I'll get to it, like they do not have phrases like managing director or really CEOs. They have president of a company. They have vice president of a company. Huge. So that really changes your mindset as a person. So that is one of the things that really hit me when I first went there. And new. So I went to Boston, stayed I think 2 or 3 months in Boston. And I said, you know, first of all, the weather, I said, okay, my qualifications, can I work here? And like, I still wanted to work in either television or telecommunications. But then I had a friend of mine, who's called Isaac, who was in California, Los Angeles, said, you know, why don't you come over? You know? And somebody else, a relative of mine called Jean, Enos's sister, she used to live in Los Angeles. Why don't you come and see? You know, and again, the environment in America, or at least when I got to California, in Los Angeles, is that they do not emphasize so much for working for somebody. They push you into creating your own business. They push you into creating something for yourself. I'll give you an example. When I got there, I looked around at telecoms, and there were many companies. There was American Wireless or AT&T. There was Verizon Wireless, and there was what's the other one? Anyhow, I worked for Verizon Wireless. Now, Verizon Wireless was a mobile telephony. It was telecommunications companies, one of the big ones in America. But then again, they'll give you, and I was offered a job, okay, as a dealer for a territory. But because America is so huge, California, again, I'll concentrate on California, again, it's so huge, I was given a territory covering like from here to maybe to Bordeaux, somewhere, you know, like a 50-mile radius, or to Ginger. So I had to be the dealer for that. Dealer in mobile phones. That's number one.
Oh, still mobile phones.
Still mobile phones in the States. Yes. And also the difference is that the market is huge. You're looking at about nearly 70 million people in just Los Angeles. It's huge. So to get a market like that, whereas a dealer, I was trained and they train you, but from a monetary perspective, the commissions that they give you there for selling a mobile phone to a company or to a person. Here in Uganda, when we're working for Celtel and MTN, yes, they used to give you a base salary and a commission, but the commission in Uganda was the equivalent of $50, which was big at the time.
At that time.
But in California, in the States, the commissions we were giving were from $300 to $500 a line. So if you saw, the reason $300 was for an individual. $500 per line you sold to an organization, like let's say 20 lines. How much is that?
That's a lot of money. Almost $1,000.
Thank you. 10,000 actually. 4 zeros. Yeah, 10,000. 500 times, let's say, 500 times 200 people, let's say in the company.
Yes.
So it was huge. And it was an eye-opener. So I'm actually, having said that, I worked for this company for the next 12 years, the years I was in America. But I moved from being a dealer to being a territory manager, and now to setting up my own communications outlet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was called Fortune. Fortune Telecoms. So that is how the America changes your mindset, pushes you into creating something for yourself. Yes, they do employ people and they pay it handsomely, but they push you, they encourage you, they somehow push you and encourage you to discover your talent. What are your strengths? Go with those. And another thing which I found exciting was that they would like train you every 2 months. Every 2 months they'll train you. So I worked with that company for nearly 12 years. And then time came to come back to Uganda. And
what made you come back?
Again, I lost my mom. My mom had come to live with us in Los Angeles, California, but then she passed. But it's a good thing she was with us, and I was with her in her last hours. So I got closure. As opposed to if she had been in Uganda and I was in the States, I was saying, but you people did not really look after my mom like I would have. But I was there. We gave her the best medical attention. We were there. But again, it was God's will. And again, the Bible says that no matter what happens, whatever strife you're going through, however sad it is, however bad it is, keep believing in God. Keep believing in God. Do not despair. Do not disparage Him. Do not move away. Just be steadfast in your faith. So that is what helped me pull through. So again, my mom had passed. Came back to Uganda.
You had to come back for the burial.
Exactly. Came back for the burial, and then I found that I had to stay.
So your dad had also passed.
My dad had also passed, so I had to stay. So again, when I stayed, God again in action. I got a job with another telecom company in Uganda called UTL, Uganda Telecom, as a manager. Corporate business manager. I got through that through a friend of mine, JD.
Yes, John Jumba.
Yes. And I started work again in telecommunications. And I worked for 2 years. Again, I felt I needed to do something bigger. You know, and UTL was a good company, government company. It had its challenges, but it also had its good aspects, because it was I wouldn't say it's a single aspect, but it was the single indigenously owned Ugandan company, the first indigenous Ugandan company,
where government had
shares, and you can say it was owned by Uganda.
Right.
Whereas your Celtel, your Airtel, your MTNs were owned by people from South Africa, people from Europe, people from England. So I was glad to have worked for a company, Ugandan company, dealing in telecoms. After that, again, God spun in action. While I was there, somebody called me and they said, "We want to offer you a job." I said, "Really? You want to offer me a job?" Yes. And again, this is different. Remember, I was a manager, corporate and sales media manager at Uganda Telecom, and we largely dealt with government organizations, giving them fixed lines, set data, whatever. Still exciting. And I met new people networking. But then this offer that I received, God worked through somebody. And they called me, and another British company had come in Uganda, and they're looking not for a manager, but for a director, a sales director.
Wow.
They're looking for somebody who had been in telecoms for about 15 years or so. And I fitted that. You know, that was what they were looking for. And somebody called me up. Dennis, there's this position, they're looking for a sales director, and I think you're the right person for it. And as it was again, we never had a face-to-face interview. They did it over the phone. "Oh, hello, how are you? Wherever you are, Then they just say, "You have the job."
Yes.
And again, it couldn't have been me. It could not have been me. It was the Lord working, working through somebody. So I got a job as a sales director, and the benefits were now huge. Medical, you name it. It was really exciting, and I thank God. I worked with them for 2 years. And then after 2 years, by the way, this company, it's a mobile company, but the difference with the telecom companies was that they were dealing in masts or satellites. You know these masts that you see on top of hills where you see they put on their masts like for sending the signals. Yeah. So they're building them for MTN, for Airtel and UTL and also Orange. You remember Orange had come in the market at that time.
Yes.
So that was the company, a British company. But then later on, an American company came and bought them. Yeah, but just before they bought them, they said they were going to bring their own people. I said, okay. Again, I sat down, I prayed to God, God, give me the wisdom, give me the vision to make the right decision. Yes. This company that I've been working for is being taken over, but I thank you for all the opportunities you've given me, the doors you've opened for me. But again, I'm coming back to you, Lord. I'm on my knees. Give me the direction I should go in. Yes. And then I remember something flashed in my mind, like in the night, and it was, you did law. You've worked for this company and you're growing, you're getting into your old age. What is your retirement plan? Wow. So that was it. What is your retirement plan? Yes. What is your retirement plan? So I said, my retirement plan, I'd like to retire when I'm when I'm my own boss, but doing something where I can give back to society. Then the law thing came back. So I said, why not investigate that? The time I started law in the UK. So I went to the Law Council. I told them my plans. They were really helpful at the Law Council. I told them my plans. They said, yes, you can do them, but the year you did, we will not give you credits for that. You have to start from scratch. I said, what? But starting from scratch means I have to start doing the LLB degree again from year one. Yes, and is that 4 years? Yes. Yeah. So I figured, okay, 4 years. Can I do that? I said, here you are. You most probably already have a family. Yes, already have a family. Responsibilities. And, responsibilities. And I said, well, I think I can do it, but the only way I can do it is if I do it part-time or in the evenings. An evening program. So they told me that, okay, the Law Council told me that these are the accredited universities that do the law degree, the LLB, Makerere, Mokono, and UCU and UPU. So I looked for one that had an evening program, and it was called the Uganda Pentecostal University. It was based in headquarters in Fort Portal. They must have had but they had a branch here. Yeah. And I started. So I'll do Monday to Friday from 5 until 9 p.m. And then Saturday we do the whole day from 9 until 6 or 7. And then Sunday from 9 to 3. So I did it. I finished year 1. I said, oh my God. I did year 2, finished year 3, and then year 4. Wow. And I finished and I graduated. I said, oh my God, thank you, Lord. So I said, I think that's enough. Yeah. So I said, let me take a break for a year. I took a break for a year. Then I decided, let me go all the way and join LDC, the Law Development Center. Yeah, right. So that I can, in the UK, when you go to law school, they have a system whereby you have an LLB, but you can become a solicitor or a barrister. And then a solicitor really, they deal with the client. The barrister has a specific job of going to court to advocate and address the judges. But in Uganda, it's somehow merged. So I said, why don't you do that? So I said, okay. So I investigated, and then I prayed to God as well, asked for direction, divine direction, and I joined the LDC. Yeah, right. Now again, the program at LDC, it is rigorous. It is nothing that you've seen. I thought I'd seen it all. I'd worked hard, but the program at LDC, it is blood, sweat, and guts. It is rigorous. And I remember my first 3 months, I was on painkillers because the pressure and the workload was too much. But after some time, you get used. Yes. And in fact, I had to move from home to a hostel next to LDC, so that I was
you could have time with your
time with the study groups,
yes,
with the
study
farms,
groups, yeah,
and the low library.
right.
So I tell people, if you're planning to join LDC, forget your personal life. It is books,
yes,
all the way, and you must be committed. And
yes.
At my age, and again, we'll talk about this later. At my age, it's like I hit the reset button. I rebranded myself. I went back to law school. I did a law degree, law school. But then during that time, and again, I guess this is like the apex or pinnacle of this interview. COVID hit. When COVID hit, COVID-19 was a situation that God brought about again in my life, and he brought it for a purpose. Because without COVID-19, I would not have really found God. For me, that was when my real faith journey began. I've been talking about in the past that God did this for me, God opened doors for me. But the real moment, really, my faith journey begins was during COVID.
What happened?
I got COVID. I was in intensive care for nearly a month. I was on oxygen.
What?
And again, I'm being told, and I was showing pictures, that I had blacked out, I had tubes, this and that. I was on oxygen. And even after I was discharged from the hospital, I used to walk in the car with an oxygen cylinder with what do you call them in my nostrils, for oxygen. And without the oxygen, I'd be gasping for air.
Yeah, your oxygen levels would drop.
It takes that kind of action, it takes that kind of event to happen in your life to really appreciate God and where you're coming from. Everything else is nothing, and everything you've achieved in your life is meaningless. It is at that very point where I decided that you need to decide that God is in my life. I need to accept God in my life. He's the only one who's taken me through this. Now, another momentous event in my life was Apostle Grace married my daughter, and that was heavenly news. Very exciting. And again, who am I to have Apostle, the man of God, choose my daughter as his spouse, as his wife, as his partner in the faith and the walk, you know. So that was another huge, momentous occasion in my life, a milestone for having the man of God, Apostle, to marry Nicolette. And then I went through COVID. And again, now, after I got through COVID, that's when I decided that, you know, I must pay extra attention to the Lord. I must pray every week. And that is how I started the Thursday fellowship. And every time I believe that, every time I go for Thursday prayers at Fanero International, it fortifies my faith in God. It builds my trust in God. It builds my determination. It builds my optimism. It builds my vision, my big vision as the eagle soaring in the air. And it is something that I look forward to every Thursday. It is my spiritual nourishment. And I believe that really Apostle Grace Lubega is God's gift not only to Uganda but to the world. The Apostle Lubega is the embodiment of what a true young generation, not only in Uganda but in the whole world, should be. The ideals, the character, the encouragement, the motivation, and everything he does working for God and to push in that direction to build a God-believing society and young generation. So I'm very glad to be associated with Apostle Grace Lubega and Fanero as a whole. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Fanero family for welcoming us with open arms. I'm very grateful and extremely humble. Thank you. Now, to move back after COVID, remember I had not finished law school. So I went back with my cylinder and my nostrils because they had opened. But then it was now online. Yes. That's when it hit me. That's when COVID hit me. I was at law school. So I went back to law school with my cylinder. But at first we were online. So I did that and I graduated. I finished.
Amen.
And
Amen.
guess who was at my graduation as my parents? It was Apostle Grace and Nicolette, my
Yes,
daughter. So
yes.
they were my parents. It was a very exciting moment. And again, God was there. God was
Yes,
pushing me, saying, you
yes,
can do it. You
yes,
can do it. You can
yes.
do it. So I finished, I graduated. Then 6 months after that, I got enrolled and got called to the bar. Being called to the bar is actually being able, you get a certificate, you're enrolled, and you are certified to start working as an advocate of the of the Ugandan courts and the East African courts. So that happened. I started working, and I'm working as an advocate now. Counsel.
Yes. Yes.
Again, it's God's blessings.
Yes.
And now, again, I told you, God brought me in this direction for a reason. I felt that I've been so lucky in my life. God has been there for me. What can I do to give back to society? What can I do to give back to teach young people, the younger generation, the things I've gone through and how I can help them so that they steer clear of danger, in their lives. So I had a word with Apostle Grace, the man of God, and I told him about my idea. And the idea has now sprouted into an institute, a learning institute, which we call Gravitas Leadership Institute. Gravitas Leadership Institute addresses the challenges of the youth. Its main audience is really S4 leavers, S6 university graduates, young professionals on the one part. And what does it do? It teaches the youth to discover themselves. Who are you in God? What is your purpose in life? Why did God create you in this world? What can you do now that can help you prepare you for the future? So it's an institute that is going to talk and give examples, live examples, and train young people into making correct decisions, having integrity, building character, discovering their talents, and most of all, discovering their purpose. And then there are other programs where we teach how to craft your resume, your CV in a very professional manner. We talk about the role of God in doing all this, in staying your life, and many other programs. Then on the other hand, especially if we were to take my life as an example, we have a specially tailored program for those people who plan to retire or who are in retirement. We have something called revisiting or rebranding or resetting your life after 50. I do not believe in retiring. I believe that if God has given you the purpose, the wisdom, and the energy and the vision to do something more when you're over 50 years old, do it. By all means, do it. So we have a specially tailored program where we train people in retirement to get back into the workforce. But not to work for organizations or for people mainly, but to work for themselves, something they can do for themselves, something that can give them satisfaction, something that can push them towards success, prosperity, and above all, self-satisfaction. What have you done in this world? So that is what I feel that I can give back to the community. Yes. The community has been good to me. God has been good to me. So this is something that I can give back.
So Counsel Dennis Kavuma,
Yes.
How can people get in touch with this institute?
The institute is called Gravitas Leadership Institute. We are soon setting up a website, and we'll be in touch. But in the meantime, they can contact me because I've already started giving physical workshops to talk about this, especially to young children. And it's for free. It's for free.
Wow.
For free for now.
For now.
Thank you so much, Counsel Dennis. So viewers, I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in. May the Lord bless you, expand your territories and borders, lay his hand upon you and keep you far away from evil. Bye-bye.
Amen.
Manifest TV. Christ